What is going on, everybody in the YouTube world? Welcome back to my studio. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I just want to hop in at the very beginning of this video and just give you a shout out, let you know what's going on. This is video number 3 in this 3D zombie breakaway tumbler series. So if you haven't checked out the first 2 videos where I am sculpting it as well as hand painting the zombie, then go back and check those out and then come back. You don't have to watch them in order if you don't want to. They're independent videos by themselves. This video is also going to have a special customer shout out midway through the video. That is White Dragon Designs. So I'll feature that here in a little while. She is the first person to purchase this build when I first posted it to TikTok. So that's an exciting process, and I'm so happy that she's able to get this amazing piece of art. So let me go ahead and run you through the process of this video, and I'll catch you back in a little while. Alright everybody, so let's jump into the painting portion. So I'm started off with a cast iron folk art paint base, and then I came in with a gunmetal gray sponge effect just to kind of stipple the surface. That way it just gives some variety and variation to the surface. I don't want it to be all one shade, or you know, I want it to have some dimension. So bringing in multiple different colors of generally the same color. Some of them are flat like the cast iron, and some of them are, you know, shimmer like the gunmetal. It just really brings a lot of depth to that metal. Then I'm going to immediately come in with some Mod Podge, and I am going to kind of spread that out to where I kind of like how it lays. And then it doesn't matter what you use as your grit for rust effect. I do like the black glitter. It forces me to cover the surface in enough paint where I can, it forces me to build depth. Whereas if I use maybe a sand, it would probably allow me to get the same effect, but it wouldn't force me to get as much paint onto the item as I probably should. Alright, so we're just going to run in with some brown washes to get the kind of aged effect, and then I'm going to immediately go in and start to apply the clay rivets that I had sculpted to the bands across the top and the bottom. Alright, so I just want to come in and start to introduce the customer shout out. So this is Lynette over at White Dragon Designs. Now I'm going to run in through her TikTok where she purchased that from me. So let's go ahead and check out some of her artwork. Alright, so let's jump into this awesome customer shout out here. I really do appreciate her business, and she, like I said, she was the very first one to purchase this when I posted it to TikTok. So she got a special YouTube shout out. So let's go ahead and go over to TikTok and check out some of her amazing artwork here. So I asked her a few of the questions that I ask a lot of my Sunday shout out people. I asked her how long has she been making art for, and what is she into now. She said that she has done many different types of art mediums, from full murals to crafts and woodworking. She says she's currently a small business owner and has the name called White Dragon Designs, where she designs custom tumblers, and soon she wants to do 3D and resin mold as well. I also asked her what inspires her artwork, and she said that her inspiration is driven a lot by customers who give her a vague idea of what they like, and then she's able to run with it. I think as an artist, that's kind of, you know, just an awesome aspect of, you know, the customers being able to trust you to do what you do in your art. It's pretty cool. I also asked her one word that described her style, and she said spontaneous. That's always a good one. And number 4, I also asked her where can we find more of her content and purchase her items. So she's working on a website now where she'll be able to take custom orders, and she hopes to have that open up by the beginning of August 2022. And then she wants to come up with a bunch of new concepts and designs, so that'd be kind of cool. She said that we can also find her at whitedragonsdesign.com or on TikTok at Lynn_White Dragon Designs, and also on Facebook at White Dragon Designs, all one word. So Lynette, I do appreciate your business, and I hope to see more of your content on TikTok soon. Alright, so continuing on with the grunge, I'm just going to continue layering that in, let it dry, and then layer in more. And depending on how I want the rust to look, depends on, you know, how I apply that brown. You know, sometimes the silver first and then the brown over it just really adds the depth to it, because not all rust is going to be just silvered out or the paint rubbed off. So you got to add a bunch of layers to get that depth that you want, because when the epoxy goes over it, it kind of washes some of the grit out, as it were. It kind of like blends that in a little bit, kind of like varnish on a canvas. You know, it takes away some of the tooth of the canvas, and you want to make sure that you can kind of tell that that grit is under there. So there I went ahead and applied the umbrella logo to it. I did age that off camera, but it's just the same combination of browns in a watered down format. And then I went into creating the police badge. So I created this, sculpted this in the first video. If you want to check that out, you can. And then I've already base coated this in a combination of bronze and copper mixed together just to give me kind of a shiny metallic. I'm going to paint the bottom as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the water slide that I've printed off. I let it dry and I applied my spray paint to it. Now I'm going to go ahead and apply that with a silicone squeegee to the surface of the badge there. I'm not worried about a few wrinkles there. A few wrinkles aren't going to really bother me because it's not a completely flat surface. I did want that to have like a concave curve to it. And I think that the overall effect is really nice. Here's a side view of another piece of item that I had created when I first made it the first time. I was also going to make it on a piece of police shirt with a button. There's a little bit of teeth marks there. I always thought that was pretty cool. I also sell it on my Etsy shop at the moment, so if you're interested, let me know. So there it is, kind of some of that grunge. I'm just going to add a little bit of drip to that. And just layer in those aged details as you see fit. Nothing is ever fresh in the zombie world. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into the veins. Now this customer had ordered more veins than blood drip. I'm completely okay with this. So you can see a lot of the original build on my TikTok if you want to go check that out at Byerly Studios, on Instagram as well. But the overall build is very similar in almost all aspects. It's just slight variations. Now this version I did use a lot more glow paint and powder than I did on the very first version, so you can just kind of see how things change over time. You know, that's the thing about art, you know, it evolves. So I'm using a piece of saran wrap here. I like to do this kind of technique when I've already applied paint to the tumbler itself, because you can't bake it while it's with paint. So I'm going to go ahead and slowly build these out on the saran wrap, and then I'll lift them up and then apply them to a blank 30-ounce curved tumbler, and then bake those separate. And then when I bring them back, we'll glue those into place with E6000 adhesive. And here you can kind of see they're on the tin foil ready to be baked. And then magically, poof, due to editing, they're already baked. So we're going to gently lift those up and then apply those, see where I want to place them, as long as I can remember where they're placed. So I decided with this version to make it to where some of the veins go over the umbrella logo, and then I wanted to make it as if it were rippling the existing paint. So it's as if these veins are somewhat coming through the metal sheathing of the metal, you know, or they're growing on the outside and they got up under the edges of the white and the red paint. So you'll see me come in a little while and apply some paint and some age to that as well. Kind of see where I want to position these veins here. E6000 them into place, and then just use the edge of a tool just to kind of spread that glue out. The epoxy technically would cover all of those. I just don't want to leave any excess there if I can avoid it. Same process for the top right there, above property of Lynette. Alright, so this is where we are so far in the build. I've got the veins E6000 into place and they are pretty much dry. I'm going to go ahead and start base coating the veins in the metallic colors so that I can kind of blend them with the background before I come in with some glow paints and neons. So I was going to use a sponge to begin this process. I was like, nah, can't do that. It's not going to work out. I don't want too much bleed over off of the veins onto the base because I've already kind of got that painted out the way I like it. So I'm going to start off with the same color, which is a asphalt, and it's very gray, and I'm applying a very thick layer of that, and I'll go over it second time if I need to, and I'll just go ahead and work that down, and then I'll start to introduce the gunmetal grays, mostly over the highlighted raised edges and kind of like where the veins kind of curve and change direction. So I'm using folk art glow paints for this. I'm going to use blue and green for this to signify the T-viruses. Now I have mixed glow powders with my glow paints, and I was experimenting with applying a white glow and then the colored glow over it, and they pretty much glowed the same way. I did experiment with this beforehand, and the paints did glow more when I applied the glow powder. So I'll probably continue this. It does very much thicken out the paint, which I'm not too upset about that. I do want the paint to look very gloopy, and like I want it to look as if it's kind of oozing out of the tops of the veins, right? I want it to be kind of nasty looking. I don't want it to be super thin and runny, and I don't want to see a bunch of excessive brush strokes. See right there, I had to cover that up. Then where the veins go over the emblem or the logo of the Umbrella Corp, I'm going to come in with some titanium white, and I believe I did permanent alizarin crimson to blend that paint up onto the veins to make it look like the veins are just kind of rippling that paint. And then I come in with a wash after that to kind of wash that color out a bit, just so I can blend that in. I want that paint to look like it was already there before those veins formed. I'm going to go ahead and apply a little bit of blood drip to the emblem there. It kind of blends out the edges of the veins a little bit. Makes it look like they're not just out there, you know. I don't want them to truly look like I just added them after the fact. So I'm kind of blending those in different areas where I can. Alright, so here's where we are so far. An absolute awesome build. It looks amazing just as it is right now. And this is where the veins are, green and blues. And I did test the glow off camera, and it did turn out absolutely incredible. It glowed so bright. But I was unable to get that to show up on the camera very well, and I didn't feel like wasting your time. Just understand that the veins do glow quite brightly, the same for the eye as well. And then we're going to go into some blood, which is my absolute favorite part of any of these builds. Now, sometimes I will use a syringe like I have in previous videos. However, this time I'm just using the trusted old popsicle stick. And I'm just going to gently apply this very, very wet. It hasn't set up barely at all to the edges and the recesses of where the metal is making contact with the face. And this just allows it to have just some functionality. Instead of just being pretty cool, pretty gruesome, pretty awesome looking, it does serve a purpose other than just the artistic form, right? It's applying support in some way. And I just think that's just an added cool feature. Alright, and then we're going to jump into session number 2 with the blood, and then it's going to be the drip from above. So the top drip around the top rim of the tumbler. I really like this because it adds just a smooth texture to the top of the tumbler, but the customer did not want a ton of blood. So just like the zombie itself, I'm not going to apply a ton to it. Here you can see me just distributing that blood around, so it's just a smooth surface, so I don't miss any or have any just random drips just sitting there for no reason. But the top of the tumbler is going to be more just sporadic, and I'm going to specifically use just enough to cover the tops of the veins, and just apply some variation. So a lot of the metal will be visible from the top. Now I'll admit to mistakes. I almost let this epoxy set up for too long. Just remember that when you apply acrylics to epoxy, it heats up faster and it can set up pretty quick in its later stages of curing. This turned out absolutely incredible though. Alright everybody, so that's almost the end of part 3 of this series. I hope you enjoyed this zombie build. I hope you enjoyed the techniques and some of the things that I included in this build. Sculpting, water slides, painting, rust, glitter, everything that was included in this. It turned out absolutely amazing. Now we're gonna roll into the clear gloss of Fresh Epoxy with a flashlight on it just to show some of the shimmer and the silvers that you can see right here. Look at it, look at that shimmer. Look at that, it's amazing. Along with that, of course, you're gonna see the Glamour Shots. So we're gonna roll into Glamour Shots. I'm gonna just let the music take over from there. I do appreciate you all coming into my channel and watching my builds. The next build on my channel is going to be a 3D gnome tumbler. So look forward to that, and it's gonna feature a special surprise. I'll catch you later, guys.